Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be giving you an update on my 2022 spending plan. I had filmed my 2022 spending plan in December of 2021 and I just watched it back so that I could get all the numbers straight that I had said or planned before and could compare it to what I am probably going to spend for 2022 instead. Yeah, it was just interesting to see because even just 6-7 months ago when I filmed that, I was saying like this depends on my current situation, this depends on my career, if I change jobs, blah blah blah. And it's kind of cool to see that I did eventually switch jobs. I got a new job in March. Technically my income is a little bit lower, but assuming I get my full bonus, or at least I may get a smaller amount because I started in March instead of in January. But assuming that I get at least a decent chunk of the planned bonus, then I will be making more for the year from my full-time job, which is exciting. I definitely wanted to go into a career making a lot more. That is not the case for me at this point, but maybe by the end of the year, things will adjust, like my pay rate will adjust, I'm not sure, or I will be getting a new job at some point. Probably not this year, but yeah, you never know. Anything could happen within the next 6 months. In that first video, I was also very optimistic about paying off my debt, which I really wanted to be debt-free by the end of this year. At this point, I am not on track to do that, but this again depends on a lot of things. So if I can increase my income from side hustles or from a different job, then I potentially could. If $10,000 of student loan debt is wiped out, depending on what Biden decides to do, it's a possibility I could be debt-free. That's just something we'll have to wait and see what happens. But last time I basically said I made a plan to completely pay off my debt this year, and I'm just going to be a little bit more realistic with this version of things now that I've gotten through half of the year and I can see what I've been doing every single month and what I expect to do for the remaining 6 months. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I will tell you every single category, what I expected to spend, what I've spent so far, and then the new expected amount if there is a change. By the way, that first video will be linked down below in case you're curious about how I go about making these spending plans, because I also share how I do that in that video. But we're gonna start with taxes. So when I first made this plan, I was at my previous job where I had to pay quarterly estimated taxes for my full-time job. So because of that, I was having to pay a pretty large portion of my monthly paychecks in a high yield savings account so that I could pay quarterly estimated taxes. Now, I do still pay quarterly estimated taxes based off of my side hustle income, but with my current job, I no longer have to do that. I expected before to have to pay $14,000 in taxes from like the money that I receive that actually comes to me. Now I'm expecting it to be about $6,000. So obviously I am still paying taxes. It's being taken out of my paycheck though, and I don't have to worry about that for my full-time job. So now I would say that's about $6,000. Next are sinking funds, and before I was expecting $8,000, and this excludes a few sinking funds. So this excludes gifts, this excludes car maintenance, this excludes car insurance. And before I said it would be $8,000, and the bulk of that was my emergency fund. And if you watched my June finance update video, then you would have seen that I talked about stopping contributions to my emergency fund or savings to my emergency fund because I want to instead put that $600 per month to my student loans. So before I said this would be $8,000 for the year. Now I'm saying it's going to be about $4,000. It's probably a little lower, like $3,000 something. This one's tough to figure out because I pull from that money and use it for things that I purchase. So that's why I'm excluding the gifts and the car maintenance, car insurance, because that gets spent every year. Okay, for my Roth IRA, I said that I would do $4,500 for the year 2022. I do want to max it out for 2022, but keep in mind that I do have until April 2023 to max that out. So even if I have to go to that point, my goal is still to hit the 6,000 mark. And now, based off of what I've been doing, instead of 4,500, it's probably closer to 3,900 because I've been doing 300 per month. And yeah, that's where it'll get me by December. I've also said this a few times, but depending on how much the stock market crashes or how much it goes down, I will max it out. So I will move money around to max it out if VTSAX goes really, really low. And I'm talking like $50 per share low, because right now it's like 92, which is low. That's lower than what it typically has been recently, but not enough for me to want to put the rest of the 4,000 something that I can for 2022. Next is Coinbase, which is crypto, and my plan was to do 120 for the year. So I've bought $20 worth of Bitcoin this year, and I think that's all I'm going to do. I probably should do more because it's way down, but I don't know. I would prefer to do my Roth IRA, 401k, and all that stuff over Coinbase, but I'm not sure. As of right now, I'm going to keep it at the $20, which is how much I've put so far this year. Donate. So far this year, I've donated about $500. Before, I predicted that it would be about $700 for the year, and this was because I typically donate $50 per month to an animal rescue of some sort. I definitely didn't expect to get a foster dog, and I'm hoping that she'll get adopted as soon as possible, but as of right now, I've had her for almost 2 months, and that's just costing me a little bit more because I'm choosing to purchase like more expensive food for her and like skin supplements for her itchy skin. So I'm gonna say probably 1,000 for the year, and this may change depending on how long I have her. Rent, trash, and pest fee. I predicted 17,000 for the year. I had no clue that how much inflation would start coming through in 2022, and also I didn't think they would raise my rent so much, over $100. That's not typically what I've experienced. So far this year, I've paid $8,669 plus the month of July when I'm filming this. So, almost $10,000 already. But for the year, it should be $18,000 because that's going to stay the same. It'll be $1,537 for the rest of the year. So $18,000, just right under $18,000 is about what I'll pay. Renter's insurance, I predicted $150 for the year, and that was because before I had State Farm, and I think I was paying like $13 or $15 per month, and then I switched to Geico, bundled that with my car insurance, and only had to pay $83.53 for the whole entire year. So that's it for the year, $83.53. That's really good. It's like a $70 savings right there, so happy about that. One thing that's staying the same is my Wi-Fi. I expect $665. That's the same as before. Electricity, I expected $750, but with recent bills, I'm expecting this will be $900 instead. So I am leaning towards probably going to a fixed rate because I can see already that my bill for the next month is already higher than $75 per month, and that's what the fixed rate would be. So I'm going to call them this week, actually like tomorrow, and see what I need to do, see what everything entails, and then also just try my best to, well, actually if I go to a fixed rate, I'm not going to worry about the energy consumption because that's really, it's annoying because every time the air kicks on, I'm like, oh my God, Yeah, I've never felt this way about my electricity bill before, but it is just insane at this point, and we're just trying not to worry about it. But so far this year, I've spent $323.73, and then my upcoming bill this month is $174. So you can see I'm already at $500, and we have 5 months after that. Water and sewage, I predicted about $415 for the year. I'm gonna say I lowered that to $400 for the year. So far it's been $186, and that's, I think $400 should be good. I don't think it will be too much higher over the next few months. Groceries, so far this year I've spent $2,328 on groceries, and in my spending plan I predicted about $4,000 for the year, and based off of this number I just went up a little bit, so I think it will be closer to $4,200 for the year, which is fine. That's $200 more. I think it's worth it. I don't think that's too bad for one person for an entire year. I don't know. I think that's average. Food out. Food out, I said it would be $600 for the year because I don't go out to eat too often. But then we went to Hawaii, and I spent the most amount of money in a month there on food out. How much was it? $253 in 1 month. Like, I have never done that. So that really changed things. So far this year, I've spent $513, $514 in food out. So I'm jumping that to $800. Gas for my car, I predicted $600. I think it will be about $600 because I work from home now, and the only time I drive is to like go back to see my dad, or if I need to go to like a further grocery store, pick up a prescription, something like that, go to appointments. So I still say $600 for the year, which I'm very glad that I can say that, because I know for a lot of people it's very, very expensive. Okay, student loans. This is the one where I had said a really big number. So my plan was to completely pay off my debt, which would take about $24,000, plus assuming I had to start paying interest again, which we don't know the plan yet, but that would be $24,500. That's what I wanted to do. I'm going to be more realistic and say it's probably going to be closer to $12,000. So that's what I'm expecting to spend or put toward my student loans for the entire year. So far, I've done $5,171. So you can see where I'm pulling that from. I think I should be able to save at least a little bit over $6,000 for the next 6 months. We want that higher though. That doesn't mean I'm giving up on being debt-free this year. Like, I'm still gonna work on, earning more income, doing what I need to do to pay this off, and trying my hardest. But just to be more realistic, I will say $12,000. Health and beauty, I said $2,500 for the year, and I am like 100 something away from that. So far this year, I've spent $2,360. Yeah, I just spent way more than I anticipated. What happened? There was something that happened. Yeah, I know that at the beginning of the year, I was spending I think in January, I spent over $700 on health and beauty. I would have to go back and look at what I spent that on. But obviously I am gonna spend more than $2,500 for the year. So I bumped this to $4,000 for the year. And this is because I want to prioritize my health, of course. This also includes beauty stuff. So this is like skincare, hair care. That doesn't cost too much. The bulk of this is on health stuff. Vitamins, supplements, doctor's appointments, including my GI doctor, my colorectal surgeon, chiropractor's appointments. I would like to get a massage or two over the next 6 months. Yeah, so 4,000 may be too high, but like, I'm not gonna aim to go higher. I just purchase what I need to purchase. But yeah, 4,000 is what I'm predicting. Phone is staying the same, so that's $40 a month, $480 for the year. For the dog, so this is excluding my foster dog, my now 2 dogs that I have with my sister. She takes care of them, she has them, but we did adopt them together, so I, try to support with money as best as I can. I expected about $2,000 for the year, but I think it's going to be closer to $2,500. We did get one of our dogs' teeth cleaned, the other one didn't need it. We did start dog insurance for them, and just based off of what I give her every month, and then plus any like vet bills or something that comes up, I think it should be closer to $2,500. And fingers crossed that nothing happens. I hate when that part of their life, it's really, really difficult. So we dealt with that enough last year, and hopefully they stay healthy. So far this year for the dogs, I've spent $1,290. Okay, this next one I'm combining because it's a little, when I was watching my video, it just makes more sense to combine it. So my business expenses plus electronics. Now, I will say some of these electronics don't count as business expenses, but that, like my watch, for example, I did buy this and I had planned on that. And I also wanted to get a new phone. I probably won't get that this year, but I did purchase the laptop, which is part of electronics, but also a business expense because I write it off. So I expected $4,250 between those two. And now I would say it's about $4,500 because I thought I would purchase the cheaper laptop, the MacBook Pro 13-inch. I went with the 14-inch, so it was like $600, $700 more than I was expecting. So I would say $4,500 instead because it all should kind of even out, assuming I don't purchase a phone. And so far this year, I've spent $3,160 on my business. Netflix did change a little because I didn't expect the price to go up. So I had predicted $167.88. Instead, it's gonna be $181.38. So it went from $13.99 and now it's $15.49. Not a big deal for me. Personal spending, I predicted $1,500 for the year. So far, I've spent about $1,000. So I'm gonna go up to $2,000. So in the first 6 months, I've spent $1,000 on personal, and I'll probably do another $1,000 for the rest of the year. I think that's reasonable. Like $2,000 isn't too bad. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, travel. I planned on $1,000 for the year, which I don't know where I got that from, assuming, like we booked our trip to Hawaii in January, and that was a pretty good price actually. So yeah, I didn't have an idea exactly of where we were gonna go, my boyfriend and I, but I knew it would be somewhere. So I'm not sure where I got the 1,000 from. So far this year, I've spent about $1,500. That was basically all on the Hawaii trip. And I don't expect to do any more traveling for the rest of the year, but I do want to purchase probably a flight in November or December for the following year. So I increased this to $2,200 for the year, assuming the flight would cost like $700. So this one I didn't mention in my last video, my first video. So this is home/office because I ended up upgrading my desk and everything because I work from home now. And so far this year for household, I've spent $700. I said I wouldn't spend anything in this category, but this also is because I wasn't separating household purchases from my groceries, because typically when I buy detergent or dish soap, cleaning stuff, I put that as part of my groceries because I get it from the grocery store most of the time. But now I'm trying to separate things out, and I would say it's going to be $1,000 for the year, so $300 more for the year. Yeah, I think $1,000 is reasonable. Car maintenance, car wash, car registration, all that stuff, I would say it's the same. So before I said about $250 for the year, I think it will be about $250 for the year. Gifts, I said I would spend $1,200 for the year, and I think it's actually going to be $750. So that's nice. That's like a much lower number. I have spent only $127 on gifts so far, and we've knocked out like everybody's birthdays. The like Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that's passed. Honestly, it's because we like didn't buy much. I don't know. I really want my family to steer away from gift giving, especially during Christmas time. I talk about this every year. I don't really like Christmas time because of that, and it just like feels like you have to, because you know, people buy you stuff and they're expecting something. So it just depends on the family dynamic, and that's just, you know, between my immediate family and extended family that we buy gifts for. It just feels like we have to. And yeah, so I would say $750, but I don't know. And again, I have that in the sinking fund, so I save I think $85 or $75 per month for gifts, and I pull from that whenever I purchase gifts. But yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. Parking was one of those random ones. I expected $100 for the year. I think it's going to be about $80. I did purchase that Stone Mountain Pass that I was talking about. It was like $10 less than I expected it to be. So far this year I've spent about $41 on parking, and for the rest of the year I'll probably spend like my $5, $6 here and there depending on where we go. Taxes for my CPA, like to pay my CPA to file my taxes, I thought it was going to be $285. It was $275, so $10 savings. For my car insurance, I expected $1,010, and I still expect it to be $1,010, but I noticed today when I checked my Geico app that they're not telling me what the price is going to be in August. It says they'll tell me 30 to 45 days before it's due. So I should find out soon. That kind of worries me because I feel like they're going to increase the rate, and I'll pay for it this time around, but come next year, I will, if it's too much, I will, you know, get a quote elsewhere and shop around to see if I can save. But yeah, so far it's a pretty decent amount. So $1,010 for the year isn't awful, and a little bit more than that I wouldn't be too mad about. But if it's too much, then I will look around. I did add entertainment and fun because I didn't plan for that. I typically don't always separate that out in my budget, or I just didn't put that as part of my spending plan, even though I definitely do purchase some things here and there for entertainment. So I had $0 before, and now I would say it's going to be $200 for the year. So far I've spent $50 in that category for a couple of concerts. And then the last random one is Spotify, which should be $99 for the year. I always buy the 12-month gift card for $99. You can get it off of either, sometimes it's on Amazon, or last time I got it off of Walmart.com. And so you get 12 months for $99 instead of the I don't know, I think it would be $120 otherwise or so. Obviously, that may not cover every single thing that I spend my money on, because there's other little categories on here, like if I purchase postage or I paid for a course, something like that. So maybe miscellaneous I could add into here and say that's like $150 for the year or something. Or I could just group that into personal spending or something like that. But before, I was expecting to spend $90,841.88 for 2022. That's a lot of money, and I'm definitely not on track to make that much money as of right now. So with this new plan, my total spending would come to $72,093.91, and that is much more realistic. I should be making more than that for the year between my full-time job and my side hustles. Yeah, so that's, as you can see, almost $20,000 less than what I predicted. The big thing there was my student loans. So if I make more money, it means I can put more to my student loans, and everything will work out in that way. But yeah, this is what I expect instead for 2022. Now that we've gotten to the halfway point, I can see a better picture of what to expect for the rest of the year, and I'm not feeling too bad about it. It does suck to go from, like, oh, I'm gonna be completely debt free, to I'm probably only gonna put $12,000 this year to my student loan debt, but I am okay with that. Like, I am still making progress, and I will eventually be debt free. My goal still is at least by the age of 30, so I have basically exactly a year to do that. I think that's more reasonable. I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on myself, and that's definitely what I was doing before. So this feels better to adjust things and be more realistic with my numbers. So yeah, that is it from me for my updated 2022 spending plan. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. It really supports my channel. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those down below, and I will see you in my next video.